actually on paper, no game is easy.
No,
So
exactly.
we've got to go there with confidence on the basis of what we're doing. And then I just, I said, Chris Davis's team talk in an away game, play like you do at home. That's it. And then just send them out. That's it. Welcome back to BCFC Royal Blue. Next up for Birmingham City is a trip to St Mary's Stadium to face Southampton after a fantastic home win against Watford, leaving the Blues 7th in the table. Now, this has always been a tough place to go, Southampton, and myself and Matt are really looking forward to the trip to Southampton. But they've sort of had a bit of an upturn in form since they got rid of Will Still, haven't they, Matt?
They have, yeah. They've been on a bit of a tear. I saw the game against Charlton.
Yeah.
They were scoring for fun.
Yeah.
And I know you've got the stats, Dad, and we'll go through some of their recent results. But yeah, they have been in good form recently. But at the weekend, they did lose 3-2 away to Millwall. And I guess there's no shame in that to some extent. Millwall at home are very strong. And if you look at the goals they conceded, they were screamers. Well, two of them were absolute belters. I think from a Southampton point of view, I think a bit like we said, for our goals, Dad, that Watford will be disappointed with the space they allowed our players to have.
Yes.
Southampton, in hindsight, might look back at the goals against Millwall and think, why did we allow him to have so much space? But if you look at Millwall's either second or third goal, it's a screamer. About 25 yards out, he just pings it in the top corner across the keeper. That's one of those goals that you look back and just go, you'd never clap an opposition goal, but you just have to go, fair play. Yeah. There's not a lot I can do about that. But in fact, I checked the social media, Dad, and a lot of Southampton fans, the top liked comment was, no surprises, Millwall were the better team today. We were shifting the ball too slowly, and a reality check indeed. So I think the Southampton fans admit that Millwall were the better side at the weekend. And of course, Dad, Blues go into the game 2-1 win against Watford. A bit more of a different Blues, weren't it? A bit more scrappy in that second half. But two class goals from us. And there's no doubt we are exceptional at home. We go to St Mary's this weekend. We need to convert this home form and performances into this game now against Southampton at St Mary's.
Yeah, it's one of those games that you look at, you think, well, they're a team that, come down from the Premier League, had a torrid season last season, started the season very poorly under what I would class as an experimental manager in Will Still, because he's not proven himself at all in the league. And it obviously didn't work out for them. They changed the manager, then they win 4 games in a row, then they lose their last game. So, and that's the thing about this league, it's so tight. You do that and win 4 games suddenly. I mean, you look at them, they're 14th in the table at the moment on 24 points. We're 7th with 28. So they're only, with their season they've had, they're only 4 points behind us. And this league is so close.
I know.
One thing I remember about Southampton, Matt, is that when they played us the season before last at home,
4-3.
It was 4-3, and they scored and Deion Sanderson got sent off, didn't he? And in that game,
Yeah,
and then
he did.
They scored a really late goal in that
Shea
game.
Adams as well. He definitely scored, but I don't know whether it was the late goal.
No, it was Adam Armstrong.
Was
I think.
it?
Well, I mean,
He scored the first in front
I
of
think they
Tilton.
had did lots of Will Smallbone,
did.
but basically, I remember watching them, thinking at the time these are a really good passing team, and we did, considering where we were, we did well to score 3 goals against them, and that sticks in my mind. I think, those games you think, oh gosh, it's so frustrating when you lose.
Well, especially in the last minute. But I remember watching that game exactly the same as you, Dad. I remember thinking Southampton are clearly a very good attacking team, but I remember thinking they're very poor defensively, because obviously during that season we were struggling, and even we put 3 past them. So I think it was a good game to watch, actually, just in terms of goal-mouth action and end-to-end game. But devastating to lose the game in that way. But I remember watching them, Dad, thinking they're quite a silky, fast-paced, going forward team as well.
Possession-based, and I think that at home they'll be strong. But I can say they are turning their season around, and those 4 wins really made a difference. In those 4 wins in a row, they beat QPR away 2-1, Sheffield United at home 3-1, Charlton away 5-1, and then 3-0 at home to Leicester before losing 3-2 to Millwall. And again, for them, it's going to be about consistency. If you look at their form as well, they haven't beaten anybody in the top 8. They beat Wrexham 2-1, who are currently in 10th now. So, I think against teams in the top half, they've actually struggled. Most of their wins have been against teams in the lower half of the table. But do you know what? The league is so tight this season that they're a type of team that could easily make playoffs easily.
Yeah.
And Adam Armstrong seems to have come back into form. Their current manager is Tonda Eckert. I think he was originally caretaker, wasn't he? And they have been playing.
Have they made him official now, full time, or
Southampton fans? I don't know. I tried to look at that, whether he's actually officially their new manager, or I don't know.
Still caretaker, maybe.
I don't know. So maybe Southampton fans can let us know about that. Played, under him, they've been playing 3-4-2-1. They've played that 8 times this season. They have played under Will Steele 4-2-3-1 5 times as well. So they have got an adaptable system. But both of those two systems are actually quite similar when you look at them. It's just a transition of players, isn't it? I think he'll play a 3-4-2-1, which he's played in his last few games
with wing backs.
Yes,
and they played them quite well.
Yeah. I mean, we played a pacey team in Watford, didn't we? So I think that was a good little warm up for this game. So in the league table, Southampton are currently in 14th, 14th in the table. Their home form is not great. They've got 12 points at home, at 9, which makes them about sort of 2/3 down that home league table. But they have got a good goal scoring record. They've scored 28. We scored 27. So that makes them the 4th highest scorers in the division. Defensively, they're mid-table. They've conceded 25, whereas we've conceded 21. So again, goals scored and goals
quite
against.
Quite close on paper again.
Not much difference between the two. But as I said, they do and still try to play possession football. Now, we don't mind that so much now because what we've adapted to compared to League One is that we've started to give the opposition a bit more of the ball, and that's made a massive difference for us in a positive way. So I don't think we'll mind them having the ball in large periods of the game. They like short passes, and they like attempting through balls, and you can say they have got the pace, like the Adam Armstrong. I'll come on to some of their players in a moment. But
he always scores against us. He does.
Yeah,
he's one of those players, and he does my head in. Adam Armstrong.
He's come back into form, as well. A couple of weaknesses. They're not great at defending counter attacks because you mentioned defensively, didn't you, about them being quite
well in that season that we
this is the stats for this. Well, this is the information for this season. Very strong at shooting from free kicks and also those through balls, but also weaknesses defending counter attacks. Aerial duels are not great on either, and they do tend to make individual errors. So they are a team that you can exploit. For me, Matt, this is going to be about what we do in terms of how we manage this game, because from those strengths and weaknesses, this is a game that I think could be quite close.
Yeah, I mean, you mentioned Adam Armstrong there, that a player we really need to watch. He scored in 4 consecutive games. He's Finn as well.
Yeah.
He's a really good player. I like Ryan Manning as well, Tom Fellows. They've got good players, you know.
Yeah.
And when you look at the Championship this season, Dad, the reason why it's so open is because Ipswich, Southampton and Leicester haven't done the typical parachute payment teams domination. You think about Burnley, Leeds to some extent, Sheffield United before this season. They'd come down, destroy the Championship, go. They were the classic yo-yo teams, when they Burnley, all those sorts of yo-yo teams. And because of that, it has made the Championship wide open. But in my opinion, Southampton, I think sleeping giant is a drastic way of saying it, but I think they will start to climb the league this season. I think you're right. I think by the end of the season, I wouldn't be surprised to see Southampton in and around the playoffs. Yeah. They're a good team. They've got good individuals. And as you said, that Tonda Eckert, who's their caretaker manager, when he took charge, got a few quotes from him. He mentioned about them having more energy and fight, and he said he wants them to press, run and compete to get the crowd behind them. So he's interested in them winning their individual battles, having a combative team, as you said, holding on to possession, playing good football. And, under Will Steele, Dad, you can't deny something was missing. They looked flat.
Yeah.
They weren't right. They weren't firing. And then when you look at them against, Leicester and Charlton, they look like they're had the shackles released off them and they're actually playing some decent football again. But they are an aggressive team with their press. They do like to pressure high up the front. And Adam Armstrong leads that line quite well. He's got good levels of energy. He's fit. He's will try and cause us issues and force unforced errors. They do play a relatively high line as well, but there's always a caveat to a high line. Maybe this feeds into some of your positives and negatives for Southampton, Dad, is that they will obviously try and dominate possession, move forward, but they can be caught out at the back with their high line, which is quite interesting. And they will try and transition quickly as well. But what I find interesting about Southampton, Dad, is they focus on central overload, not wing overload. And we all know the wings are a fantastic strategy. A lot of teams like Watford that we played this week like to get the ball out wide, fast, pacey players get the ball in the box. Southampton tend to go through the middle.
That's unusual.
They're a bit more of a central overloaded team, but they're very good at it.
Yeah.
I mean, look at the some of the goals they scored against Leicester and Charlton as well, through the middle. And they're very good at doing that. But I think we're strong at defending through the middle, actually. If anything, I think we look a slightly more vulnerable when teams do go out wide with pacey players.
Yeah.
I think our spine is so strong, or very strong, that we tend to do quite well. But no doubt about it, good team, Dad. And a few players I'm sure you're going to highlight now. Adam Armstrong always seems to score against us. Can't deny his experience. He is a good player. Finn Azaz. Ryan Manning I like.
Yeah.
He's one of their wing backs.
Yeah,
He contributes very well defensively as he does attackingly.
Yeah.
And also Tom Fellows as well. I really like Tom Fellows. I always have. I've been a big fan of his. And I did have some defenders written down, but they seem to have gone walkies from my screen. I can't remember their names, but they've got some really good solid defenders as well.
Yeah. I think they had a hangover because their season was torrid in the Premier League. They're 12 points. They're the second worst team ever in the Premier League history, aren't they? And they came down because you come down with this losing mentality. And that's sort of fed into the start of their season. Now I think they're starting to turn that corner, aren't they? But they've spent some money over the summer. But they've let a lot of players go as well. So they have basically they've got players that have come in. That Finn Azaz, 14 million they paid for him. Nearly.
14 million,
14 million for Middlesbrough, 13.9 million according to Transfer Market.
Wow.
13.9, and then Kasper Ajanda, the central midfielder from Nuremberg, they paid 12 million for. But this is a parachute payment, and this is what happens at these levels. Tom Fellows, West Brom, they paid 9.25 million. There's a player called Leo Scienza, a left winger from Heidenheim in Germany, 9 million. 8 million for Damien Down, centre forward from Cologne. They bought a lot of German players. And then another German player, Joshua Kwasha, centre back from Hoffenheim, 3.5. This is like they've raided the German league here. So they got four. So basically they spend money, but they have let players go. I mean, so obviously if you look, they sold Mateus Fernandez to West Ham for 44 million.
Wow,
44 million.
44 million.
Yeah. Tyler Dibbling, right winger, went to Everton for 40 million. So you see, they've actually got a net plus of transfers.
So when you see 9 million, 14 million, 8 million, when you're selling players for 40 million, 30 million, it's not even going to touch the sides, is it?
And they've got Selamunda, left winger to Atalanta in Italy for 17 million. So basically, they've got a significant net surplus in the transfer market. So you're right, and it's just levels, isn't it? But it shows you, as a parachute payment team, the power that they've got. The spending power they've got.
What you've just highlighted doesn't even come into parachute payments. They've got their own money off the revenue of the players they've sold.
Yeah.
Parachute payments they're not irrelevant here, but they are not playing a part in Southampton's transfer budget as much as their ability to sell players at a high value. That's incredible.
Yeah. It's great, isn't it, for them? Because obviously but I'm presuming those players as well would have had like relegation clauses and won't want to play in the Championship. Like their current top scorer at the moment, unsurprisingly, Adam Armstrong with 7. He's their highest assist with 3 as well. Then Finn Azaz, who you mentioned, Matt, attacking midfield with 5. Then Ryan Manning with 3. Then Taylor Harwood-Bellis, who I really like as well. He's a centre back 3. And then Leo Scienza, winger with 2. So again, they've started to score goals now, as you mentioned, Matt. In the last game, obviously Adam Armstrong was the number 9. And he had two behind him, which was Robinson and Finn Azaz. Tom Fellows on the right wing, and then Ryan Manning on the left. Their sixes are Bragg and Yanda, who I've just mentioned, who they bought in as well. Solid team, and they're playing a 3 at the back in their last game. That was against the game they lost actually against Millwall, but that's been typical of the way they've been set up. I like what you said as well. I didn't really pick that up about their preference to go down the middle,
central overload.
And I think you're right about that. That would be better for us.
Managers do their research. They might look that we're strong and then adapt their game to stretch us wide. Who knows? But that is definitely a Southampton strong point. And to be honest, when we did the Watford video and we spoke about a DNA of a Watford team is pace and speed and good wingers. Again, I see a good Southampton DNA as good play through the middle. They can open teams up really nicely, and they do play some good football. High possession, high press. They're the Southampton DNA I kind of look for when I'm watching a Southampton game. But no doubt, Dad, at St. Andrews then. At St. Mary's, it's going to be a tough game. But we need to bring that home form and that home energy to this game because
I think this is a particularly tough game. This one,
it is a tough game.
But we, like you said, we have to turn that corner with our away form at some point. We can't continue with our away form. I think we're about 4th or 5th worst in the whole of the league.
And we're 7th, so it shows how good our home form is.
Second at home, and I mean, imagine if we had just picked up a few more points at home, we could be well up there. I mean, we're 7th at the moment with a really, really poor away form. So this is a tough place to go. This is, but like I said to you, Matt, you look at every team in the Championship, and they all look tough. To be honest.
Yeah, exactly.
No,
exactly.
So you just got to go there, do our thing, and see what we got.
I don't even want to go to the likes of Sheffield Wednesday, Portsmouth, Oxford, Norwich, the teams that are now down in the bottom 4. You don't even want to go those places.
Well, particularly later in the season, they become real problems. I mean, Ipswich lost to Oxford last week, and as the season progresses, those teams become tougher and tougher to play. So actually, on paper, no game is easy.
No,
so we've got to go there with confidence on the basis of what we're doing, and then I said, Chris Davis's team talk in an away game. Play like you do at home. That's it, and then just send them out. That's it. But
I'd add one more thing to that. Energy, intensity, going at them. I think sometimes away from home we start too slowly and we're a bit too passive.
Yeah.
Like if you look at the West Brom game, our latest one, 35 seconds in, they nearly had a shot on target. We just allowed them on.
We did Watford as well. Watford had a shot in the first minute.
We did, yeah. But I think we just need to impose ourselves, be aggressive, and we'll be fine. I have no doubt. But as you said,
I just hope that Chris Davis fixes the vulnerability we have when a Water goes forward. I hope there's a plan for that because it just gives too much space. Now these types of teams, particularly on their own grounds, that's going to make us particularly vulnerable. So I'm just hoping there's a bit of a plan for that. So we need to get onto the Blues team, really, don't we?
Let's do it, yeah. So shall I take you through the team?
You can, but I'm pretty sure what you're going to say.
It's pretty consistent. So I'm going to stick with Beadle in goal. Yeah. I'm going to go for Cochrane left back, Clara and Neumann in the centre halves, and I'm going to put a Water back at right back after his suspension. Again, if not broken, why fix it? Doyle and Paik, I thought, had a really good game against Watford in the middle of the park. Then I've gone for Dimmy on the left, Stano in the 10, Roberts on the right with Dutch in the 9.
Yeah, it sort of picks itself now.
It does now.
What I like about what we've done, Matt, is that we, for the first time in a long, long time, we have got a predictable starting lineup. We was before. I think Chris Davis has been like moving the parts around and trying different things. I think that would almost be nailed on the starting 11 because I've got that as well. I don't think there'd be any, unless there's any injuries. I know that Clara is one booking away from a suspension, isn't he?
Is he?
He was against Watford actually. Always, please don't get booked because you don't want him missing. So I don't think that Chris Davis is going to rest players on that basis. Of course he's not, but particularly players like Clara. But I think that I didn't see any injuries in the players that you've mentioned in the starting 11.
No.
So I'm pretty sure that will be the starting lineup. Yeah. So there's not really much to talk about really in terms of the team.
No, as I said, I just want to reiterate that point. I just don't want us to be passive. And I know Blues fans probably watch it go, of course we don't want to be passive, but there is a pattern of passiveness when we move away from home. That intensity, fast passing, fast movement. We've all seen it down St.Andrews. Apart from the Watford game, we've been scoring 4 goals at home. We can do it. Yeah. And we just need to translate it. I'm looking forward to getting down there. Obviously, me and you are going to be there, Dad. We've been to St Mary's a few times in the past. I remember going once, particularly, I think, Premier League days with yourself.
Oh, it was years ago.
Yeah,
me, you and your mum, that
was. It was. Yeah,
we had a nice day in Bognor Regis today after as well.
I remember.
Further down the coast. But I'm looking forward to going to St Mary's. But what do you think about score, Matt? Do you want to do the prediction first?
Sure. So I think there'll be goals in this, but I also think it could be a draw. So I've gone for Southampton 1, Birmingham 1.
I've gone for 1-1 too.
Have you?
Yeah. I mean, it's easy for me to just say I'll try something different because Matt said 1-1, but I've actually got 1-1. And I think that a draw here for us, I'd love to get the 3 points, but I think a draw away at Southampton is a good result.
Yeah. I'm not confident yet, Dad, to predict wins away from home, if I'm totally
That's
honest.
the problem, isn't it, Matt?
Yeah.
That's the problem. With our away form, it's really difficult for us to predict a win, isn't it?
We have to win at some point again, and I think this is a good chance to do that. But for me, I think if we turn up at St Mary's like we do at home, and
if we don't turn up, we won't get any points.
If we turn up with the intensity and the way we know we can play, and we can win this game, no doubt about it.
I think we can beat anybody in this league if we play to our ultimate.
Yeah.
I think the key thing is that tempo you were talking about. If we get that tempo, that one-touch football, we do that on for most of the game. I think we can beat pretty much any team in this league. But I think where we are at the moment, though, I'm with you. I think that it's difficult to be confident to predict that win.
Exactly.
And I'm going for a draw as well. I'd love the 3 points here. Love the
Mm.
3 points, but they're on good form. You know, they're sort of going in an upward trajectory. So are we.
Yeah.
So I think that each team will hopefully cancel ourselves out. And
It
we'll
should
get one.
make for a good game, though.
Yeah.
Again, I did go 1-1. I think that might have been a conservative option. It could be a few more goals than that as a draw, but we'll see what happens, Dad. I'm looking forward to going down there. It's going to be a tough game. Hopefully, the boys bring that attitude, the fighting spirit, and that tempo, and let's bring those 3 points back. But at the minute, there is just this subconscious thing that I'm not 100% confident we can predict in wins just yet.
No. But I think, Chris Davis is going to be aware of where we are away from home, and he's going to have to talk to the lads about what he wants and what he expects and how we can turn it around. But should be an interesting game. But as always, what do you think, Birmingham City supporters? What's your prediction for the score? I am going to ask you for your prediction for the starting lineup, but I've got a feeling you'll probably go with the 11 that me and Matt have suggested, because that seems to be the pattern over the last half a dozen games. But let us know your thoughts in the comments below. If you did like this podcast, also if you're a Southampton fan, we also welcome comments from fans from the opposition team. So please add your comments as well below. All we ask is that any comments are respectful, with no abusive language or foul language or aggressive behaviour. But leave your comments below as well. If you did like this podcast, then don't forget to give us a thumbs up. And if you haven't checked us out on our social media channels already, pop along to our X page and our Instagram page. And if you'd like to watch or listen to your podcast on Spotify, you'll also find us on there as well. And you see the handles appearing on the screen for all these channels right now. If you haven't subscribed to the channel already and you'd like to, don't forget to hit that big red subscribe button. And if you hit that bell notification next to the subscribe button, you'll be able to get notified every time myself and Matt put out a brand new podcast. So that's it for this one. Hope you enjoyed it. Myself and Matt, see you on the next one. All about Birmingham City.